Beowulf, translated by Lesslie Hall. Book 11. All sleep save one. Then Hrothgar departed, his earl throng attending him, folk lord of the Scyldings, forth from the building. The war chieftain wished then Wealhtheow to look for the queen for a bedmate, to keep away Grendel. The glory of kings had given a hall watch, as men heard recounted. For the king of the Danemen he did special service, gave the giant a watcher, and the prince of the Geatmen implicitly trusted his warlike strength and the wielder's protection. His armor of iron off him he did then, his helmet from his head to his henchmen committed, his chased-handled chainsword, choicest of weapons, and bade him bide with his battle equipments. The good one then uttered words of defiance. Beowulf Geatman ere his bed he upmounted. I hold me no meaner in matters of prowess, in warlike achievements, than Grendel does himself. Hence I seek not with sword edge to soothe him to slumber, of life to bereave him, though well I am able. No battle skill has he, that blows he should strike me, to shatter my shield. Though sure he is mighty in strife and destruction, but struggling by night we shall do without edges, dare he to look for weaponless warfare. And wise-mooded father, the glory apportion, God ever holy, on which hand soever to him seemeth proper. Then the brave-mooded hero bent to his slumber, the pillow received the cheek of the noble, and many a martial, mere thane attending, sank to his slumber. Seemed it unlikely that ever thereafter any should hope to be happy at home, hero friends visit, or the lordly troop castle where he lived from his childhood. They had heard how slaughter had snatched from the wine hall, had recently ravished of the race of the Scyldings too many by far. But the Lord to them granted the weaving of war speed, to wederish heroes, aid and comfort, that every opponent by one man's war might they worsted and vanquished. By the might of himself, the truth is established that God Almighty hath governed for ages kindreds and nations. A night very lurid, the traveller at twilight came tramping and striding. The warriors were sleeping who should watch the horned building, one only excepted. Mid earthmen 'twas established, the implacable foeman was powerless to hurl them to the land of the shadows, if the Lord were unwilling. But serving as warder, in terror to foemen, he angrily bided the issue of battle. Book 12. Grendel and Beowulf. Neath the cloudy cliffs came from the moor then, Grendel going, God's anger bare he. The monster intended some one of the earthmen in the hall building grand to entrap and make way with. He went under welkin where well he knew of, the wine-joyous building, brilliant with plating, gold hall of earthmen. Not the earliest occasion he the home and the manor of Hrothgar had sought. Ne'er found he in life days, later nor earlier, hardier heroes, hall-thanes more sturdy. Then came to the building the warrior marching, bereft of his joyance. The door quickly opened, on fire hinges fastened, when his fingers had touched it. The fell one had flung then, his fury so bitter, open the entrance. Early thereafter the foeman trod the shining hall pavement. Strode he angrily, from the eyes of him glimmered a lustre unlovely, likest to fire. He beheld in the hall the heroes in numbers, a circle of kinsmen, sleeping together, a throng of thanemen. Then his thoughts were exultant. He minded to sunder from each of the thanemen his life from his body. Horrible demon, ere morning came, since fate had allowed him the prospect of plenty. Providence willed not to permit him any more of the men under heaven to eat in the night time. Higelac's kinsmen great sorrow endured, how the dire-mooded creature in unlooked-for assaults were likely to bear him. No thought had the monster of deferring the matter, but on earliest occasion he quickly laid hold of a soldier asleep, suddenly tore him, bit his bone prison, the blood drank in currents, swallowed in mouthfuls. He soon had the dead man's feet and hands too, eaten entirely. Nearer he strode then, the stout-hearted warrior, snatched as he slumbered, seizing with hand-grip, forward the foeman, foined with his hand. Caught he quickly the cunning deviser, on his elbow he rested. This early discovered the master of malice, that in middle earth's regions, neath the whole of the heavens, no hand-grapple greater in any man else had he ever encountered. Fearful in spirit, faint-mooded waxed he, not off could betake him. Death he was pondering, would fly to his covert, seek the devil's assembly. His calling no more was the same he had followed long in his lifetime. The liege kinsman worthy of Higelac minded his speech of the evening. Stood he up straight, and stoutly did seize him. His fingers crackled, the giant was outward, the earl stepped farther. The famous one minded to flee away farther, if he found an occasion, and off and away, avoiding delay, to fly to the fen-moors. He fully was ware of the strength of his grapple in the grip of the foeman. 'Twas an ill-taken journey that the injury bringing, harrying harmer to Harrowrot wandered. The palace re-echoed to all of the Danemen, dwellers in castles, to each of the bold ones, earlman was terror. Angry they both were, archwarders raging, rattled the building. 'Twas a marvellous wonder that the wine-hall withstood then, the bold in battle, bent not to earthward, excellent earth-hall, but within and without it was fastened so firmly in fetters of iron by the art of the armourer. Off from the sill there bent mead benches many, as men have informed me, adorned with gold-work, where the grim ones did struggle. The skilding wise men weened near before that by might and main strength a man under heaven might break it in pieces, bone-decked, resplendent, crush it by cunning, unless clutch of the fire in smoke should consume it. The sound mounted upward, novel enough, on the North Danes fastened a terror of anguish, on all of the men there who heard from the wall the weeping and plaining, the song of defeat from the foeman of heaven, heard him hymns of horror howl, and his sorrow, hell-bound, bewailing, he held him too firmly, who was strongest of main strength of the men of that era.